who are published authors, journalists, private investigators, and we do thumbs up, thumbs down reviews on the podcasts or other true crime entities. We're not going thumbs up, thumbs down on the actual crimes. We're looking at journalism, storytelling technique, these kinds of things. It's a thumbs up, thumbs down review. So we're like Siskel and Ebert for true crime. And kids, if you don't know who Siskel and Ebert are, and ask Grandpa, because that was how we knew like whether or not we should go see Kramer versus Kramer, because Gene and Roger, who actually hated each other for many, many years.
Yes.
Great story. That's what we do. So we take a look at that kind of thing. And we just talk about ethical storytelling and why different stories, ring true. And we have over 650 episodes. Many of those were 2 review episodes. So I think we've reviewed about 1,000 different titles at this point.
So is what you're saying that we are qualified to talk about the quality of a podcast? Yes or no?
Oh, hell yeah.
Am I qualified? Yes or no? It's like, I guess you're not going to be.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, you're qualified for that.
Wait, I have to say one thing before we keep going.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. So for the first, 30, 45 seconds of this live, we thought we were live.
So I need to introduce Kevin again.
You need to introduce Kevin again. So sorry about that. We were just, so for the chat, we were going on for like 45 seconds.
Oh, we were so smart.
Because our video played. So I was like, here we go. And I looked up and it was like, go live. What do you mean? I'm already live.
Yeah. Let's say the highs again then.
Hi. I'm Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie.
And I'm Kevin Flynn.
Kevin Flynn, longtime television journalist, author, my co-podcaster for 10 years, sound effect contributor, for which we got some criticism, calling us 90s Shock Jock Radio.
I take it as a compliment.
Yes, and we kind of came in when Kevin was describing our longtime podcast, Crime Writers On which we review the quality and content of other podcasts, which will come in handy for me later in this conversation when we discuss last night's what is it called? Four Coven? What is it called?
No, it's called Four, F-O-U-R, Forensics Room.
Forensics Room, yes.
Forensic Room.
We will be discussing last night's Forensics Room episode, but Kevin is here just for a few minutes because I wanted him to talk about something. Mel, Kevin and I last night were talking about...
I did like this super great introduction of who I am, and no one got to see it, and you don't want to...
You want to do it again? Go ahead, do it again.
Right.
We were talking about that, and we were also, it came in right in the middle of you talking about CW.
First part was the best part, Yeah.
It was the best part. I was so sorry.
I just real quick, I'm Rebecca's co-host on Crime Writers On, where we do reviews of true crime podcasts, documentaries, series, also fictional crime adjacent media, and we do thumbs up, thumbs down reviews. We're not doing thumbs up on the crime or the criminal.
Great murder.
Yeah. Oh wow, that was a bloody one.
No, we don't do that.
Which is kind of like some people do. But we like to thank our panel of 4 authors, who are authors, journalists, true crime authors, private investigators, journalists. A wide scope of experiences. We talk about the storytelling and the content and the ethical journalism around these different entities. And we've done more than 650 episodes. So we are, we think, I don't know if we're qualified. I think we're qualified, but we have a lot of experience sort of talking about the way these things play out and how people should consume them. So thumbs up, thumbs down, just like Siskel and Ebert, when we were talking about earlier. Anyway,
like North, when Ebert reviewed North and said, I hated this movie.
Some of the times it became a New York Times crossword puzzle clue. It was like the word he used 15 times. Yeah.
Described what movie? Yes.
But I'll tell you, the coldest put down I ever heard Ebert give was not directed towards a movie. It was directed at Siskel. which was, I'm trying to remember if this was back in the day. They started off on PBS and then they had their own thing in syndication. And so they're having their discussion. And then Ebert says to Siskel as he's moving on to the next thing, says, well, I'm sure that advice is worth exactly what I paid for it. Absolutely nothing.
Which, by the way, sometimes comes up in our house. I just want to give a shout out to Twitter person Hydro623, who actually gave that Four-ensic room thing is their own brand. They call it the Housewives.
The Housewives,
which I think is very clever. So I don't know if that's
apropos.
That's where I saw it. So So last night I was talking with Kevin, who, by the way, didn't say this in his introduction, but is also my husband.
I was going to say you're her life co-host.
He's the chemistry was just sizzling. I think people just assume
he's my wife.
Between me and you, Kevin.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think Kevin can turn her.
Can I show you guys one thing? I borrowed Lindsay's Stanley.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
What does it say on it? It was hidden by the comment. I can't see what it says.
Menopausal as fuck.
Oh, okay, great, right. Great.
I have this for so if you know, you know.
Yeah,
I know.
I don't have my Starfucker mug today, but
that was not given to you.
So Kevin and I were talking last night about some Karen Read gossip. And as I am wont to do, he's like making beautiful dinner, and I'm like, want to hear the latest fucking Karen Read gossip? And I
spent an hour making this steak au poivre.
Yeah. Right? We saw the pictures,
right? Grinding up by hand. I'm like, what do you think about, and it's like, well, Karen Read, ... It's like,
You're never going to believe what happened with Chris and Julie Albert on a Spaces, Kevin.
I
was like, remind me who they are again.
Okay, come on, bring it in. All right.
So, Kevin, the reason you're here is because we had a particular discussion that I wanted you to tell Mel about. But can you just tell us why it is you have any interest at all in the Karen Read case, not besides the fact that your wonderful wife is interested in it? Why did you find it interesting from the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would say that unlike maybe some people, I don't really have an interest in Miss Karen Read. I mean, I am not into sort of like, I don't want to say the cult of personality, but I wasn't in this to save Karen Read, right? I was totally drawn in because of the circumstances around the mystery of it. It certainly sounded at first, and at some point, everybody else kind of came into this, right, from different ways. Something clicked with them and said, "Oh, I want to get in this and follow this and go really deep." And it was when I heard Rebecca was sort of going over like this happened, this happened, this happened. It was two things. One, it was the dog bites, right? And you're like, but if he never went in, how did he get like, that's an
I know a dog bite when I see one, right?
Yeah, right.
Because, I've been bitten in the face and
I mean, it's like, that's, house long to die in the snow. Like I think we argue about like whether Rebecca and I, whether the time
whether
is really accurate, whether it even matters. It's certainly, it's exculpatory. If it did happen, it doesn't implicate anybody if it didn't. But the other thing was the fact that the FBI was also investigating this and apparently came to a different conclusion. So in a lot of cases where in the mystery in real life or in the movie, you have a suspect and you're trying to prove their innocence. Well, certainly in real life, it ends up like you could show a lot of evidence here that, that doesn't add up and they haven't made their case and whatnot. And then they're acquitted. But a lot of times it's unsatisfying because you just never find out, well, then if not them, then who? And the whole idea that you have another investigative organization who has no skin in the game comes to a completely different conclusion than the investigators is so rare and intriguing. I'm like, wow, what's that about? And I think that we can agree that for all the stuff that we know about the Karen Read case and what people were texting and who was standing next to who at the waterfall, that the one thing that we generally do not know, the last thing is what the FBI knows, what they did. We don't actually really know. We can guess it's three things about why they got involved in the first place. What was it? Because there was a federal officer probably involved? Were they looking into corruption at the DA's office, within the local police, state police? Did they come in it that way? We have no idea. That is still the interesting thing, and the thing that, as far as a story arc, from that point of view, that closes it out. And I think for a lot of people, right, this case isn't over until that thing is done. Usually after, after a defendant is acquitted, it doesn't convince police officers and prosecutors that now they got to go find a different suspect. Because as soon as you arrest person 2, what's the first thing they're going to say?
Police originally thought that guy did it, so it's probably not me.
Probably not him, right? So, or her. So and I mean, that's regardless of whether or not they like truly in their heart will, believe with a burning passion that, no, we got the right guy to begin with, and fuck the rest of you.
Yeah.
So so when Karen Read was acquitted, it was like very obvious to me, well, Morrissey is not going to say, all right, well, let's go and do this other thing. And certainly with what happened at the federal level, let's go. All right, maybe it's something else.
Let's get to the truth now.
Yeah, those other things seem kind of suspicious, right? And I would say, sort of parenthetically, I was talking a year ago with somebody who's a detective at the state police, nowhere near Boston, zero connection to it. I mean, maybe know some of the people, and talking about, well, this, that, and that. And I would say, hey, just this one thing. All right. Sure. Suppose that you arrived at the scene before anybody told you anything, that you didn't, because Karen Read had driven off, that you didn't even know she existed. And you found out fact A, fact B. Then when it came out, there was this or those things. Would you not at least be suspicious of the people inside and at least want to go and have that discussion? And it's like, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in the end, this is just going to, it certainly looked like, okay, done and dusted. Nothing further is going to happen, especially with the FBI and the U.S. The Justice Department sort of been giving this mandate that you are no longer going to be doing civil rights investigations into police departments. Which
when did they get that mandate, Kevin? February of 2025.
February of 2025.
Just before they announced the federal investigation was over. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, so then you're like, it's over. Why then? Because they finished it up and they came to a conclusion, or because the Trump administration said, we're not doing this anymore? Again, that's assuming what this was all about was originally a civil rights investigation and not something else. Not the idea that they're looking into the fact whether a federal agent was involved in a murder or a suspicious death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So like 99% of these cases that we see, person walks away free. That's the end of it. The idea that there's another agency that fought with the investigators, that collected evidence, that held the grand juries, all the things that they did that we have not heard. Things have leaked out. We know the defense, they shared things with the defense, or we assume that. Certainly stuff comes out of nowhere. Yeah. Okay.
They did.
Yeah. All right.
There was
I didn't know if I
documents. Both sides got it. Both sides.
Oh, that's right. Right. And you can, right. And Deb said, oh, yeah, well, you can use the facts, but you can't say where these come from.
Can you use the facts, though?
Can you use the facts if you can't?
Not as far as the side by
side. Extremely limited scope. You can say this one thing, but not these 10 things.
All of this is prologue to say that this DA's race really intrigues me. Not just because it was like, well, as long as
which DA's race are you talking about?
The
Morrissey and Adam Deitch Adam Deitch's candidacy.
Right. So John Smith was going to eventually come in and run against Morrissey because from the political aspect, he's weakened and people are upset and whatever. So just about any, Tom, Dick, or Harry could come in and people would be, just for the principle of it, get rid of him. But what makes Deitch, it's Adam Deitch. Am I saying
Adam
that correct?
Deitch,
yeah.
Right.
I heard his own ad, and that's his name coming out of his own mouth.
Okay.
For a second, I thought you were saying that Jack Smith was going to run, and I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, no.
You said John Smith. I was like, Jack Smith. Why would Jack Smith run against Morrissey?
Well, I mean, I guess actually, John.
If Morrissey reruns,
if he reruns, okay. The fact that this is the candidate is not only interesting because he moved to that county so he could specifically do this. He's on a mission, but it's the fact that he was in the U.S. Attorney's office, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he knows what they know. And it's not that the state police and Canton and all those folks, it's not that they couldn't reinvestigate. It's that they will refuse to. The only person, I think pretty much the only person that can get that open again and pursue that with a new bunch of people and already with the cheat sheet would be him.
Mm-hmm.
And so it opens up an entirely interesting thing. It could be any DA, but he knows all the secrets. And even if that means he can't just say them or use them, he knows where to send those investigators.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at a different trial with a different judge, they'd say, yeah, of course you can go and you can use all of this. You can work in conjunction with the FBI. You could sit on this until there's a new administration coming in and takes the shackles off and, or whatever. But the idea that
remember too, he's going to have a whole new unit of cops to work with that Morrissey was not working. They've all been either fired, demoted, or moved. Every single one of them. So yeah.
I mean, he can handpick in his office who does this, and he can, get requests. He can find investigators from outside agencies. He could pull in somebody from the Hampden County Sheriff's Office, to come across. Well, just like, again, somebody with
showing off your Massachusetts knowledge here on our show.
So we need someone from a different area code. Bring in the 413 and screw you 617. And we're gonna do it right. So it's the idea that normally that's done and dusted, and prosecutors have no interest in it. And this guy not only has an interest, he knows where the figurative bodies are buried.
Correct.
He knows that, and that means that perhaps we will learn what the FBI knew, what they dug up, what that whole thing is. To me, that is the final act of this story, and it's what I was here for to begin with. So I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. There is a path forward. And of course, it's one of the reasons why potential suspects are nervous, because
absolutely,
people are always like, well, if there was someone in the house, why don't they just flip on the other people? Because the other people, there was no criminal legal exposure for those people.
Correct.
Why would you flip on somebody that's not charged with a crime?
Right.
Especially if it's your aunt, uncle, your best friend, whomever. But now
it's the charging that causes flipping. They charge somebody, and then they say, we will reduce your charges if you tell us what.
Right.
If you tell us whether or not those cuts on those and that knuckle really came from somebody falling on the ice or not.
Yeah. We know that we are pretty sure at one point, one person inside that house said something to somebody, because that narrative did not, come out of whole cloth.
The Steve Scanlon narrative, you mean?
Yes. Yes, right. So it provides a permission structure for whomever that is. And of course, more than one person knows what happened inside that house for someone to come forward now. So unless there's any sort of criminal pressure, there just really was no way forward unless you had this one thing happens. You get a DA who's willing to do it. And you've got a DA who he hasn't said this, right? That this is his platform.
No.
We can certainly infer that, but it's not only somebody who appears to be willing to do it. It appears to be someone who has all the knowledge necessary to pursue the case that we all think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wasn't that baked potato I made perfectly cooked to 200 degrees?
It was actually really good. I thought it was going to be undercooked because it's so big. I just want to say, we saw your comment there, Honey Kid, about it's sad that it took a wealthy white woman to get people to believe in police corruption. That's what I've been saying this whole time.
Yep.
That's why this case is important, because it has opened the eyes of unactivated people, and they are now activated. And it might be sad, but because it happened doesn't mean we should say it shouldn't have happened that way. Because think about all the people involved in this who formerly had, Blue Lives Matter flags and never believed a person of color when they said they were screwed over by the police, and now are saying, wow, if it could happen to her, it could happen to anyone. Like, that's not nothing. You know, you don't have to yell at them for not believing it before. Just be happy they believe it now. That's my take on it.
And Karen Read is using her white privilege for good in this situation, kind of.
Making a campaign contribution, a literal campaign contribution.
Apparently so. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people have. And I'm sorry, I was trying to maintain eye contact with our friends here and not look over at the comments.
You can. YouTubers are like this, Kevin. They're like this. They're like, let me look at my notes.
We're like this. Yeah, we're like.
I know. I told you I was a real television journalist, right?
We know that you're a professional.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
He once got arrested on live television.
Did you really?
By the Massachusetts State Police.
Actually, did.
I was escorted out of the way on live television. Everybody from Boston finished their hit, and I was still from the New Hampshire station, and they wanted to reopen that road. This was after one of those tunnel collapses.
Yeah, during the big dig.
During the big dig, right? And it killed somebody.
The big dig.
Fuck show that was.
And they're like, hey, it would be great if you went wireless. So you're just standing there. No one can see your microphone. No one can see your IFB. You just look like you're standing there talking to yourself. And one guy and waiting, and
which is normal nowadays, but back then
I can see the guy coming. I can see the trooper coming, and I can hear him tossing it to me. And I'm like, start looking up. The other thing was that the camera was way up above. It was a million miles away. It was like this super long shot, and we were going to come in on
an aerial of you, Kevin.
Pretty much, and they start to come down, and then there's some trooper with a walkie-talkie, like pushing me, and I'm just like, blah 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 blah. This happened. I said, this trooper here is just making sure I'm safe and I move out of the way. Blah 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 blah. Cut to tape. All the producers are like, Kevin, get arrested. Why are you getting arrested? Like, this was your fucking idea to put me out in the middle of the road and wait until 10 minutes after 6 to come to me, right? You know,
Kevin became the news.
I became the news, and then another trooper came. Oh, the good thing I did is I like pulled the IFB out of my ear, so because he was talking, I couldn't hear what he was saying because I had the one.
Yeah.
Like, so
you didn't do the standing here like this thing to indicate.
No, I literally did that. I went like, I'm trying to look as TV
like
as I possibly could.
Old-fashioned broadcaster here.
As soon as off the air, I pulled it out.
Diane Reed.
I pulled the IFB, and I didn't know if he recognized it as a TV IFB or it just looked like a hearing aid, but I was explaining that. The reason I didn't
we gotta get this deaf guy off the road, guys.
For me, the reason I didn't immediately comply with your instruction was because I couldn't hear it. And then at the second time, then this guy's captain, who probably was 70 years old, comes flying out of nowhere on the other side and starts giving it to me. And I think the other trooper was like trying to explain. It was just like, I just want to get the fuck out of here because I'm done my thing. I'm in trouble at work because everyone thinks I'm going to jail. And maybe I will. But that was the last time I talked to a uniformed state trooper. How did we get here? What were we talking about?
But
can I just say,
Chris Denton wants to know if the footage is on the internet anywhere and that we need to see it immediately.
I don't think it is. This was like 15 minutes before YouTube.
Did you yell that live and FCC rules meant you couldn't interrupt a broadcast? You know that reference, right, Kevin?
Yeah. Code of Federal Regulations 47 is what governs what was the Federal Radio Communications Act. No, it's not. It's the Broadcasting Act. But in any event, no, there is no such fucking thing as you can't interrupt a broadcast. What is that? The FBI is going to come and arrest you?
Yeah. No, I can't remember, Kevin. Were you on the side that I should reach out to DePietro and talk to him, or not reach out to DePietro? Because he invited me to talk, and I just completely ignored that request.
I think that's what's the point?
What is the pro-social outcome that could lead to?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure he's a lovely man. I'm sure his mother loved him.
Kevin, he cheated on his ratings and blamed it on his wife.
Oh, that's right. That's another thing I cannot believe. That is the way. Look, there are that we would call, when I was in radio, we called that getting the death penalty.
Yeah.
The worst possible thing you could possibly do in broadcasting in the industry, he did, which was allegedly, or I guess it was his wife allegedly did it, falsify those diaries.
Yeah.
And that was, and why is that so bad? Because your sales department goes out and convinces people that this is the rate you should pay because this is the number of people that listen to us.
You're making them commit fraud if those numbers are wrong.
Well, it's how many people? We don't know.
Yeah.
That is.
It's just like when Alito blamed his wife for
the flag.
hanging
The
up
flag.
the I forget which flag it was, but some
It was
sort
the
of like
upside
militia.
down. Oh, it was a militia flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
They
was
also at
the
one point had the upside down American flag.
Yeah.
TC Nerd was making a good point, and I just want to talk about this for a minute because we don't often talk about this aspect of it. We always talk about Karen Read being a white woman who, brings attention to this case. But TC Nerd said, do you think that there's also a class issue here? Karen was upper middle class and the blue collar women resented her. I think that's a really strong point.
Maybe. I think they identify as blue collar women, and maybe technically they are, but they are fine for money. They all drive like $100,000 SUVs. And remember, they made fun of her Fall River accent, which is not exactly them saying, oh, maybe they were doing that because, I mean, there is something to that potentially, that she's not one of us. I mean, we definitely got that vibe that they felt like she wasn't one of them.
I think there's also a bit of jealousy that Karen had so much more freedom and independence than they did. She wasn't married. She doesn't have kids. She's like, self-made, doing well for herself, and she can sort of pick and choose whoever she wants to date. And I'm sure that there was some like small town blue collar jealousy there.
You think Nicole was like, I really prefer my life with Brian over anything else that I could possibly have?
I think my thought on a lot of that is that okay, again, I don't know exactly what happened. A lot of theories, evidence points in a lot of ways. Everybody all of the McAlberts, somebody knows something. However, there is at least one person who is not in the loop, but is totally behind their family and their loved ones because that's what you do for family. And they might go too far, or they might push a line, they might look nutty or whatever, but they are sincere and they are not trying to obfuscate some bad act. They completely believe because the person they love has told them this didn't
Karen
happen.
hit John.
Right.
And that we are now being harassed, and then they are defending. I believe that too. I think a lot of people really believe it to be true. I think it's fair to say that there's enough in the world that they should be asking questions, but maybe even if they don't think it's true, they're still standing by their family. And that's a very that's not a thing that I would live by, but I will tell you, family.
I will tell you that in the not so distant past, I had a relative who was accused of a crime, and the original evidence looked really, I don't want to say fishy, but it was like, there was a place where there were like 200 video cameras and none of them caught this thing. Right. And so I hated the local TV coverage was so sloppy, and it implied a lot of different things with, men on the street and people who didn't know anything. And it was not it wasn't the kind of news package that if I were the news director or if I was the reporter, I would have turned in. And so I went and I wrote to them and very angry. And, I was I didn't talk to him. He didn't try to convince me of anything, but in my heart of hearts, I looked at that and I wanted to defend him.
Right.
And then time passed and realized that they weren't wrong.
Yeah. Evidence came out, witnesses came forward. Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I'm disappointed, I'm
you're not going to be writing. You're not going to be starting a podcast for the purpose of on his behalf.
No, but I learned that, look, it's kind of what you do for family and friends. You immediately come to their aid. We wrote an entire book called Our Little Secret. It's available wherever you buy books. And it basically comes down to a man, when he was a teenager, committed a crime where he killed somebody that he thought was a child molester.
I thought that was a really good book.
Oh, thank you very much. And then for the next couple of decades, he kept it a secret. However, he would eventually tell people here and there.
Everybody knew.
And by the time he was arrested, a whole bunch of people knew, but nobody said anything,
including potentially one of the police officers in the town where he lived.
Who seemed probably to know many of the police officers.
Right.
Hey, can you say the name of that book again one more time, but with your real accent?
Okay, it's called Our Little Secret.
No, you got to say
with your accent.
You got to say.
You mean this is my real accent?
The names of our books in Boston accents is the best.
It's Our Little Secret, and our is 2 syllables. Our Little Secret. Yeah. It's like FOA.
What other book did we write that
Four-ensic.
The number 4. when you go to the bubbler when you're in school, when you're in 4th grade. The other
4th grade. That was
yeah,
a good one.
hold on a sec. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, now he's look at him. We were like, I was like, I'll only take 5 minutes of your time. He's super into it now. I love it.
This is the advantage
Hour
of doing
later.
it. Okay. This is
Our
look at
secret.
that.
our little secret.
Our
Yeah.
little secret.
Okay. And then well,
Ooh,
the
dude,
first
Doc
book,
Hot.
the first book I wrote was Wicked Intentions.
Wicked intentions, kid.
Wicked
Wicked
Intentions.
Intentions. Yeah. The next book was called, right? Lawyers. Legally Dead.
Horrible name.
This was
Horrible name
the joke was this was the placeholder name
that we made
because
up because we knew
we
they were
made
going
up-
to change the name.
because the publisher, they have a meeting and they like throw around, no, this is what the
Mhm.
most marketable title is. The first pass to the galleys, the first pass came back and that was still the title, and we were like, what the fuck, weren't they supposed to have a meeting? This book, and by the way, this Rebecca's co-author on most of these. It's called Notes on a Killing.
You're not saying it right.
Notes on a Killing. But it's not as good as this last one, which is Doc Hot.
Doc Hot.
Doc Hot.
That's like the most recent one, right? And that's about the Mazalia.
Case, yeah.
It's a good
Doc
one.
Hot.
It's a good story.
A true story of sex, manipulation, and murder.
Because
Okay.
you are from Massachusetts, Kevin. You're not just a Flatlander doing the
No,
the accent.
but
I have one other question for Kevin before we let you go. And I'm hoping this is off the cuff. I'm hoping, do you have any reaction to the Pamela Smart news that came out yesterday? Do you know about the news?
Yeah, I saw the posting. I'm sorry, I haven't. Oh no, actually, no. I read something. This huge motion about all these different
Habeas,
things.
yeah.
The habeas. There's a lot there. I don't know.
I'm
It's
putting you on
funny.
the spot.
Yeah. You know, here's my thing on Pamela Smart. I think that I've come to believe, I don't believe that she's innocent, but I've come to believe that the sentence from Judge Gray was probably not proportional, and that she probably doesn't deserve a life sentence. She's been 30 years, obviously
35,
35 years. The guy who pulled the trigger is out.
Billy Flynn.
I mean, I think
Billy Flynn.
I think that, intellectually, yeah, she probably should be, she should be qualified to appeal for parole, right? She should be able to do that. The problem is that that's always going to be the purview of the governor of the state of New Hampshire. It's
So
a
political
issue. It's not a judicial issue. Certainly, former state attorney general and homicide prosecutor Kelly Ayotte,
currently our governor,
is not going to entertain that. So maybe at some point, but as far as we gave you a transcript, we played the audio. It's interesting. Again, I don't know. I grew up in a journalistic generation where she was the ultimate villain. Maybe it's Pam Smart is our Confederate flag. It's just like, all right, we're gonna stick by it just because. But anyway, I do admire and respect the work. Again. Yeah,
let's take down the Pam Smart statues, shall we?
Yeah. You're right. She is in New York right now, and I think that they filed in both jurisdictions.
They had to because of the statutes in New Hampshire say that you can only file a habeas in the jurisdiction where the person is in prison in New Hampshire.
Okay.
But the state of New Hampshire, someone, Jess saying, said, why is she in prison in New York? Because 2 years into her sentence in New Hampshire, she was whisked away in the middle of the night, sent to a prison in New York.
And with Sheila LaBarre.
Sheila LaBarre.
With Sheila LaBarre, she was I don't know if it was a pretext, but the wicked intentions. Apparently, Nikki likes the way my face goes when I. Sheila was a problematic inmate. Is what they said. I mean, she was a problematic person, obviously, and
Really?
violent, whatever. And it's probably not a surprise, but it was like, we'll trade you this messed up inmate, and you give us that messed up inmate. And Florida is closer to where her family is anyway, so it's probably,
I thought she was in New York for a while.
Not
In Bedford Hills?
Sheila,
Oh,
not
okay.
Sheila,
Okay.
but Bedford is it Bedford Hills?
Yeah.
Is where
That's where
Pam
Pam is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of rumors about why she was transferred. Some of it, I talked to like a local woman early on in the podcast, and I can't remember her name right off. I think it was Sharon. Anyway, she said she was wonderful. She had the best accent, and she was like, oh yeah, she was controlling all the prison guards. She was running a sex ring. They had to get her out of there. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then the other rumor is that Greg Smart's mom, Judy, they had a pretty good in, I think, with the district attorney's office, and she basically was like, she's got it too easy. She's teaching classes.
Yeah.
We want her to have a harder time, and so get her out of
New
here.
Hampshire State Prison for women fucking blows. So
Yeah,
that's
it did.
It had no programming. It had no, men have wood shop. They were literally making birdhouses, and then that's it. That's all they had.
Did you know I had played a softball game at the women's prison in Goffstown?
You did?
I mean, I don't know.
It's not as good story as dance, but once our radio station had a softball team, and we were like, we'll play against your office thing, and we lost every freaking game except for one. Of
course you did.
Which happened to be against the Hillsborough County Superior Court. We got asked by a judge who ends up making an appearance in our little secret. He's the one that would not accept Melanie's plea deal because he didn't buy her story. I
thought you were saying you played softball against the women at the correctional facility, and I was going to mention there are a lot of lesbians in prison, Kevin.
We did play against the inmates, and
there was what?
Yeah, oh yeah, it was us,
and you got your asses beat.
No, I think we might have won that one, but there was at least one ball. There was at least one ball that escaped.
Did it have a sack of cocaine in it?
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin, thank you so much.
Kevin, you're the best
for coming on our silly show. We'd love to have you back sometime to give your takes on things. I know you've got takes on a lot of things. Kevin has takes on. He'd sometimes walk in while I was watching the trial, and he'd get sucked into like one aspect of it. Like for a while, he was very obsessed with Colin Albert's scabs in that photo.
Where he landed on the ground like Iron Man. Superhero pose. Yeah. At least I didn't spill my dunks.
Just for the audience that doesn't know, I mean, Kevin is the original co-host of the Readathon.
That's right. Until he got kicked out for you.
That's true.
Because he was like, I don't want to hear any more about that.
I was making too many of them, and he had other shit that he needed to do.
Yeah, I love Dennis Leary's call out at his thing. But when we were at the Orville Peck concert at the MGM in across from Fenway, I suddenly had a flash that I thought he was going to yell out from the stage, "Colin was in the house," but he didn't do that.
It would have been something.
And before I go, I just want to thank all of the viewers / listeners to Something's Off. And you can hear the audio version in our Patreon. I want to thank everybody that not only supports it by watching and liking and doing all the things that the algorithm needs. And of course, the algorithm, is the higher power, that determines what everybody is supposed to like. Thank you for doing that. And for your financial support. It's, it helps these two people do it. They ought to be rewarded for their work and for their art. And it's very hard for normal people or people who are not employees of another thing, for people to advocate for themselves and to say something like, well, I hope you do this. And I do it with Patreon too. I feel like we have to really overserve. And, every month we've got 20 podcasts, episodes of different kinds that people can listen to. And to me, it still doesn't feel like enough for a $5, a $6, a $15 membership. And so the fact that you get, you can, if you're watching on a screen and you can use the QR code or a different way, please reward them. Mel works extremely hard. This is great. You just go live and you're like, click. And this is, a lot of YouTubers and podcasters just go straight to tape. No thought in it whatsoever. Ums and ahs, no idea what they're talking about. As a former broadcast professional, it drives me fucking crazy. I see people.
You would have been bagging your head against the wall last night.
Oh my God.
You would love the forensic room, Kevin. You would love it.
You see, everybody has they buy these Yeti microphones, and they're like millionaires, and this is the way they talking to them. They talk like this. This is not where you pick up the audio. This is the pickup part of the audio. So everybody's talking the wrong way, right? And so, right, I told you because you think that. I'm like, okay, you're the expert. You're the one that's crushing our whole industry by sucking up 45% of the income, and you're talking in your microphone the wrong way. Get fucked forever. Get fucked forever. This is why Mel and Rebecca have to ask you directly, could you please support them? And I know that they're uncomfortable.
Mel's uncomfortable. But
I'm uncomfortable.
Let me just say, I'm not going to ask you to do it, but I'm going to thank the people who have, because that's very generous. You don't always have a lot of extra money. You could be buying one half of a HBO subscription or something like that. And the fact that you support them, put a lot of time in it. I was just trying to say that a lot of times Mel when it records, takes the raw video, starts playing with it, cleaning it up. Not necessary, or a lot of people do not do that. And she puts a lot of care into it. And so when some goofy thing appears in the screen, like some overlay, she took time to do that. And she spends her whole day doing this just so that you will have, a chuckle in that split second, because it makes for a better show. So anyway, thank you for supporting these two strong queens. And they cannot stop providing you content. I was like, you went on for an hour and a half.
Dude, it's been 46
stuck
around.
It's going to be 2 hours
today,
for sure.
It goes by fast, doesn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, it does. It does. But I'm just such an engaging guest. So
you are. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me on the pod.
Yeah, can you come back someday,
Love you, Kevin?
All right. Love you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Oh, Kevin. Somebody, by the way, commented, Rebecca's hair is great volume today. Thank you for noticing. I got myself a Dyson Airwrap for Christmas when they were 40% off the day after Christmas. I used the Christmas check my mom gave me, because even though I'm an adult, my mom still writes me a check every year for Christmas.
Like
and then I buy her a bunch of gifts, and I realize, we're just giving each other the same thing. So I'm always like, I'm going to use my mom's check on something I'm too cheap to buy. And this year it was the Dyson Airwrap, and that shit works. I love it.
I've heard. I just use a regular old hairdryer and some.
Your hair's looking great today too.
Thank you. I got new setting texture powder. I use the texture. You know what I'm talking about? Like
no, I don't.
You just dust it all over your hair, and it holds better than anything in the whole world. But it's always geared toward. It's always advertised to men as a setting thing. So I buy it's called gentleman's blah 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 for men's hair, and it's like. No, it's really good for women. You guys should use it too. It's basically like dry shampoo, but for styling. It's really amazing. I love it.
Somebody asked, do I use hairspray or mousse as well? And then we're going to move on, I promise. I use Bumble and Bumble leave-in conditioner. Lots of sprays of that, and then a tiny little bit of their styling oil. I used to use a bunch more shit, and then sometimes I finish with a little, just to keep this bang out of my fucking face. But that's it. I think fewer products work better on me to keep this shine. Okay.
Okay. So we're going to be on for 2 hours. Wait, how's your schedule?
I'm good. Okay. I have
Good,
something at 1 in Concord. So,
Concord.
Yep.
You mean Concord, New Hampshire?
Concord, New Hampshire.
Oh, that was sweet, Kevin. We have a lot to talk about today, but right off the top, let's just get some sort of housekeeping stuff out of the way. And by housekeeping stuff, let's talk a little bit about merch. You want to go with that?
Yeah. So if you become a member of our channel, or you are a member of our channel, we are going to post in the coming days a Google survey, a confidential Google survey. So you can send us your address, and then I'm going to send you a little something in the mail. It's not big, but I think you'll like it.
I'm gonna, where should I post? We do have a PO box. It's a little one, so I can't take like big boxes or anything like that. But we did have, I wanted to mention this to you. I don't think I've told you about it. Let me pull up my Venmo. But we had a listener send us a Venmo tip. And along with the tip, she was talking about Ruby and, the dogs. And she said, I love you guys, and I make quilts for dogs, handmade, free. And I think she's going to make us both quilts.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So I just need to let her know. I was like,
love
where
when
can
I
I
love when my dogs have
order?
something to fight over. That's incredible.
I know. She makes quilts for dogs. I love quilts. I love
Same.
quilts.
Same.
So yeah, so again, thanks to all the tippers. Like what Kevin said, I appreciate whenever anyone talks for me in this, because it's so, like I said, it's so hard for me to be like, guys, I work really hard. I just need like $5. It's just, I feel weird about it. So I appreciate, when you guys step up and mention that. So Rebecca is going to collect addresses. I am going to put out, I don't know where to put it out, the PO box. I guess I can just put it on here somewhere.
Yeah.
But if anybody wants to
send us a postcard,
send us a letter. I love letters. So if you want to write a letter, please do. Speaking of, I got an email last night. Actually, it's the first thing I read when I woke up this morning. I don't think it was actually sent last night. I think it was actually sent.
You call you useless C word? Like the emails I get?
This was a beautiful email.
Oh, good.
From, I'm not going to say his whole name, but Nathan from the UK, who is a fan of CWO, and he shared and he basically partners in crime media content, all of it. One of the things that he said, it's a lengthy email telling me a little bit about his life, but he also mentioned that, some of the ways that he copes or, engages is to listen to sort of conversational podcasts like ours and like CWO. And he said that basically our brand of acceptance, positivity, humbleness, and genuine appreciation that we show each other and the people we interview, like Pam Smart, that kind of thing. I appreciate you is something he started using in his own life. And I'm pretty intentional with that phrase, and I have been for a long time. And I just wanted to address that really quickly and say thank you so much, Nathan, for sending me that email. It was really lovely that was the first thing I read this morning. And so I appreciate that. But I appreciate you. I think, everyone says thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for this. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. But I really appreciate your time, Rebecca, and I really appreciate what you have taught me about this industry, and I really appreciate your humor. And so it's not enough to say thank you anymore to our audience, and it's not enough for me to say thank you to anyone I love. So I appreciate you. I'm not just saying it. I actually really mean it. So Nathan brought that up. I wanted to reiterate it. I really love that email that I got this morning. It really made my day. So thank you. What else do we have? Let's see.
A couple quick items we can talk about.
Yeah, go.
Nick Reiner, who's
let's do a little bit more housekeeping. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
I totally forgot.
That's housekeeping. Nick Reiner. Okay.
Rebecca's not going to be here next Thursday when we normally record, but we have a very special guest. Next Thursday is going to be a members only live. So if you want to be a part of the live next week, please become a member. There are 2 different levels. You can click the join button on our main page. Our guest next week is going to be Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Maggie Freeling. Yes.
I won't be here.
I know. I'm very sad about that.
Maggie's awesome. You guys will love her. Okay. I'll be in St. Martin though, so it'll be fine.
I know you're going to be fine. You're going to be on the nude beach in St. Martin.
Oh,
and
Kevin's going to throw on his peanut smuggler. I'm going to be out there with the big hot dogs hanging out.
His what is it called?
I did buy him a small bathing suit for St. Martin. It's not a Speedo. It's like a European style trunks. They're so cute. Oh my God, they're so cute.
We're gonna definitely need pictures. I'm gonna need pictures at least. And I don't know if he wants us to post those pictures, but I would be happy to.
I don't think so. You're not getting pictures of me in a bathing suit either, my friend. So anyway,
wait, Crime Writers On and their recommendations got me through 2 broken ankles in 2018.
I've broken an ankle, as you know, if you are a listener, and that shit sucks. All right.
D Cools, thanks for becoming a member. And Chris Denton said, budgie smuggler.
Budgie smuggler. That's nice.
Okay, now on to the actual substance.
Okay, quick news items. Let's just do a couple
Yes.
quick news items. One of them
Sure.
is that Nick Reiner had a hearing yesterday. Of course, Nick Reiner is accused of
Mhm.
killing his parents, and in California, Rob Reiner and his mother as well. And Alan Jackson, who obviously represented and still represents Karen Read, was his attorney, which made news, and it's not surprising that Alan Jackson would take on a high-profile case like that.
Not at all.
But yesterday, he abruptly withdrew from the case, saying that there were reasons he couldn't disclose. And then he made a statement outside the courthouse saying, according to California law, Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder, which was he said, print that, which was an unusual thing to say. If it's an unusual thing to say, period, if you're no longer representing somebody. But what it signals to me is that this was likely about money, that he wanted the case, and that whatever arrangement he wanted to make in order to represent him, the family wasn't willing to do that arrangement. So, you can't do something like this for free. And I know Alan Jackson said at one point that Karen never paid him a dime, but he is financially benefiting from the Karen Read case through shared IP deals, etc. And there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a quid pro quo fee situation, if in fact that's what's going on. And I suspect that it is. They've never actually announced that, but the deal that they both made was public.
Yep.
So I think that it's likely that it was about money. And I think him saying that under California law, what he's sort of telling us there is, I had a defense that wasn't murder. That was probably mentally health related, probably manslaughter adjacent kind of thing. So anyway, that's what happened there.
Thanks for becoming a member, Florida Girl 1229. You're amazing. We appreciate you. I put this one other comment up on the screen because it's so New Hampshire. I couldn't help myself. But D Cool said, I broke my ankle playing volleyball the day the old man in the mountain fell off the mountain. The old man fell off the mountain.
Guess who broke that story of the old man falling off the mountain? It's on YouTube. Kevin Flynn broke that story.
Kevin frickin' Flynn.
He got a phone call from some old timer. He was like, the old man is no more. And he and his cameraman got in the van, were the first and only reporters up there, and he broke the story. And so that's one of his reporting claims to fame.
If you don't know what we're talking about because you're not from New England, the Old Man in the Mountain is a rock structure in the White Mountains in New Hampshire, and it looks like the profile of a man. And it is on every New Hampshire logo there is. So the license plates, everything. It was like the symbol of New Hampshire. And then many years ago, a decade ago?
On Kentucky Derby Sunday, way longer than that. It was like,
was it?
Yeah, it was right after I got married. It was like 2000 or it was like in the early 2000s, I think. It was early. Okay. It was on Derby Sunday. I remember that because I was at a Kentucky Derby party when the news broke.
Well, anyway, the old man's nose fell off, and now
his face fell off. Like it's just gone.
Originally, it was just the nose, I think.
Oh, and then Craig Benson, who was the governor at the time. Keep in mind, this was a natural cliff face. Craig Benson, who was New Hampshire's worst governor. He was only governor for 2 years. There's all sorts of scandal.
2003.
He pledged that they would rebuild.
We're going to rebuild his
We're going to rebuild this natural rock structure made by nature millions of years ago, but we will rebuild it. No, we haven't rebuilt it.
Those of us who are, I was born and raised in New Hampshire, and I obviously don't live there anymore. But for those of us who are from New Hampshire, the motto, the old man in the mountain, Granite State, like all those things, it's very much like Confederate flag.
Oh, yeah.
Live free or die.
Well, except Confederate flag has been turned into a heritage symbol, but that's actually not. It's like it's people say that in order to keep it. And then that's become the legend.
Why are you trying to erase our heritage?
Symbolically, it is like our Confederate flag because people will not let it go, even though it's been gone for 20 plus years. Anyway, you have a quick news item as well?
I do, I think.
It says TB Sir reply on the notes.
Oh, it's not really quick. That's a bit of a I think the only other short one was that we were going to touch on very briefly without getting into any kind of politics whatsoever about this. The only thing I want to say about the shooting that happened in Minnesota yesterday in Minneapolis is that I am terribly sad for the woman who died. her partner, her children, that community, and the state of our country right now. I was really struggling with this yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about it because we don't know for sure exactly what happened. I've seen the video with my own eyes, so I can make my own conclusions, but an investigation hasn't been done yet. I just feel so sad for for her 3 children, who already lost, her son already lost a father, and now they have no mother, and it's just stupid.
Yep. And some of the coverage has been so irresponsible.
Oh, it's so fucked up.
Whether or not you think when you immediately heard about it that it was murder, or whether or not you think that it was justified shooting, like you cannot know that at this point in time. You can't. And, you can have an opinion, but you should understand that that's your opinion and not.
Yeah.
And so, and the coverage is not shaped anymore by what we know, what we don't know. It's very often shaped by takes. So,
yes.
Turtleboy, reply.
So there's a couple of things that I just wanted to bring up. I'm not going to get into the legal aspects of it, but this is the response to, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know you will, audience. This is the response to Cosgrove's response about being dismissed from the case. Right? So 2 things were brought up that I'm just like, whoa. I mean, Betterow is going after them. One of the first things he brought up, and you're going to really appreciate this if you haven't read it already, Rebecca, specifically, that he brought up Uri Buchanan. He focused on Uri Buchanan because Uri Buchanan has put out 7 different tweets or public responses
social media
promoting
and
sponsoring these testify, the McAlbert
defending the truth.
Defending the truth. Testify. So he can't really do that. I mean, it's unethical, but it's also like, how are you going to be a witness in any of these cases, whether it's Turtleboy, Karen Read, civil cases, all that? Like, what the fuck is he doing? He's such a dumbass sometimes. So that was brought up. Betterow brought that up. Sometimes.
If he weren't contributing to such like a bad cause, like a corruption of the police and the government cause, I mean, my instinct has always been like, oh, Uri, but I don't have that instinct. I mean, if he was this dopey about something inconsequential, you'd be like, oh man, that guy, what a dope, right?
He's such a dope.
Instead, he's really contributing in a toxic way to a situation that this has been adjudicated. Karen Read was found not guilty by a jury of her peers. And those who continue to talk about her guilt as a certainty are the same people that if she had been convicted and we were saying she didn't do it, they would say, no, she did because she was convicted by a jury of her peers. Like there's just no respect for the process at all. It's just all about their takes. And Buchanan is a cop and he worked for the DA's office. Like he should understand how bad the optics of that are. So bad. So bad.
Yeah. And it's funny that you bring up, we're saying that she was acquitted by a jury of her peers. I cannot wait to tell you what happened in the what do they call it? The Haas.
Oh, the Hoswives.
The Housewives conversation with Chris Albert last night, because they did discuss that, and it's hilarious. I can't wait to get to it.
Okay.
The only other thing I wanted to bring up in the Sir reply, the Turtleboy Cosgrove Sir reply. This is really fucked up, and I'm really mad about it. Cosgrove, in his response, brings up Lindsey Guatani and says that if you bring Lindsey Guatani into this as a witness on the stand, she is in, and I'm paraphrasing, obviously, she is going to be in trouble for perjury. So he's basically already threatening her that if she comes and testifies, he is going to try to impeach her and say that she engaged in perjury. So this is a witness intimidation case, and the prosecutor is intimidating a witness in his legal motion. So fucked up.
That's definitely an interpretation that could be made of that, and optically it also looks very, very bad. The whole case is a mess.
Yeah.
Even if you are firmly on the side that he did something that was beyond his First Amendment rights, and because the witness intimidation statute in Massachusetts is written poorly and can be exploited easily. But even if you think it's written beautifully, and it's being applied here beautifully, if you don't think this case is a total mess and should be dismissed on those merits alone, like, you're not being a good faith actor here. You're not thinking about this in good faith, because there are many cases, and someone just asked earlier if we were going to talk about the Uvalde case. We probably will at some point. There are many cases where process hasn't been followed properly and rights are violated, and thereby, even if you believe with your heart the person should be found guilty, you absolutely must dismiss the case, and with prejudice very often. So anyway, I think that the merits of this case just aren't there anymore. It's just completely off the rails. I don't interpret what he did as intimidation per se. I think he's just writing his motion and saying what his strategy is going to be. But that's just what Tommy Nichols said. But the optics are bad. And these people have no sense of optics at all. No sense of optics.
I'm thinking about this from Lindsey Guatani's perspective. In a motion to the court, Cosgrove says this, and it goes a little bit further. I would suggest anybody who's interested in learning a little bit more about this, it's a shorter episode, but go listen to Brother Counsel break this down, because the way that it's written actually does feel like intimidation. I'm paraphrasing because I'm not a lawyer, but go and listen to Brother Counsel. He actually breaks the motion down and talks this point out.
Okay.
And it really bothered me because I'm no Lindsey Guatani fan. I don't like all of the drama that's happened between Kate Peter and Turtleboy and all these people. But I do think someone just said it. Yeah, this person, Troy. I feel bad for Lindsey Guatani. She was taken advantage of by the cops and Kate Peter. The only one helping her is Grant Smith Ellis. I don't know about that part about it with Grant Smith Ellis.
So many characters.
I feel bad for Lindsey Guatani as well. I think that I don't want to we talked about this before. I'm not going to say what I think her mental health is, but I do think that she was taken advantage of by a lot of people, not just the cops, not just Kate Peter, Jen McCabe, several other people, and to some extent, the drama between her and Turtleboy, it's just all a mess. And this woman, who is a mother, not that that matters, but she's a young woman who is sort of on her own and has children to take care of, is again being intimidated and threatened by the justice system, and that's what it feels like to me.
I think that I agree with that in part. I do think she was taken advantage of, but I think these people who have no self-regulation recognize other people who have no ability to self-regulate, and they pull them in, and they are like, okay, you're just like me. You'll call the cops too. You'll tweet this horrible thing too. And it's like, Kate Peter has demonstrated she has no ability to self-regulate. Lindsey Guatani has demonstrated she has no ability to self-regulate. Meredith O'Neill is demonstrating that she has little to no ability to self-regulate. And the drama is the point. The drama is the point. So for as much as what she did initially was wrong, and what the cops did in that case was wrong, if she could just be taken out of the equation because of it being a tainted property at this point in terms of the case, that would be great, except she is so integral to so many aspects of all these legal matters that she's like a Jenga piece. You pull her out, and what do you have left? If
well, she's got a lot of receipts for sure.
Yeah.
Lots of receipts.
Lindsey is a pick me, and they've used that against her. I agree with that. I agree.
Absolutely. And Tony,
yes, Turtleboy can't self-regulate either. Yeah, he knows.
Absolutely. Yeah, we tell him all the time. Tony, I took one for the team. I watched the Chris Albert stream last night, and we'll get to it in just a moment.
We promise.
We promise. Okay, so next on the list. Before I get into the Chris Albert stream, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about. Well, actually, one other short bit of news that we should talk about. What's your reaction to Chief Cox saying that he's going to step down?
Has that been confirmed? I have only seen unconfirmed reports of that so far.
Okay. I don't know for sure. So let's say it's a rumor. It sounds like he's been directly quoted though, because he did say something along the lines of because Wu has been
I think that's I don't think
no.
that's been confirmed. At least as far as me reading it up until we started taping this at 10 o'clock and looking at the news, I don't think that's been confirmed. That being said, if true, interesting and not
Mhm.
surprising.
Mhm. What do you think the reason is though? If it's true and he does step down, what's the reason?
Well, did you see that there was recently like a something about him not responding appropriately to the post commission? Like, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff. He apparently his whole thing lying about his contact with Dever and his knowledge of the Karen Reed case, I believe
Mhm.
is indicative of other things. And so, but that was so public that I'm not saying that that was the straw that tipped the camel's back or whatever, but like it's not, if it's true and if it's his idea and not someone else's idea telling him to we're going to let you retire gracefully. If it is his
Mm.
idea, it's a good idea to jump ship while you can still be employable elsewhere, conceivably. And if it's not his idea, again, he probably still couldn't be employed elsewhere. I mean,
Mhm.
let's be real. Like
I mean, he's a commissioner
he
of
got the job
whatever.
to begin with and
Right.
clearly is not great at it. So
There's two other pieces of news that I want to talk about. I'm going to let you go with this one because we both watched it. We both had a very similar reaction, but can we talk really briefly about Turtleboy's stream the other night, where he was talking about the Nat the German. What is that her name?
that's
Wait,
that's the nickname, Natalie.
Nat the German releases Karen Reed's emails.
That was such a typical Turtle Boy stream. You and I were
It
texting
was a
about it.
it
It
was
was
a hilarious shit show, I have to say.
hilarious shit show, and like so many, like the reason he's a talented broadcaster, and
Mhm.
you can disagree with everything he
I mean,
says.
he's obnoxious. He's an asshole. We get it.
He
I
fat
understand.
shames, he says the R word, like all that stuff that I would never do. He's deeply funny, and
He's homophobic light.
this is a thing that people who are doing things like I would watch your forensic stream if you were good at broadcasting, and I
He
felt
is.
like I could actually watch it and not
Mhm.
want to do something else while I was listening to it or watching it. But I
Right.
started and I was just like, I just want to do my crossword now, man. It's poor broadcasting. It's
Yeah.
bad. They're bad at making a show. He is good, even though he's disorganized, says all sorts of stuff. He's good at making a show, and that's what I was telling you. I was like, "This is so
It's
typical."
entertaining. I mean,
And
I couldn't look
like
away.
his brand of insult, even though it's bad insult, is objectively deeply funny. So it's like he gets away with a lot of shit that other people were not as good broadcasters wouldn't get away with, even with his
Absolutely.
audience who loves him. I know people love his show that don't approve of him fat shaming people. I know that they do because I watch the comments sometimes.
We don't approve of it, and we tell him that when we talk to him. I mean, he's a dummy.
That being
You know,
said,
like
shot put champion was a pretty smart, like if you're gonna if you're gonna say something about somebody's body, like as a former track coach.
okay, let me just say this. I don't for the audience who didn't watch the stream, he does a bit in his stream where he's talking about Julie Nagel. And Julie Nagel was the woman who testified at Karen Reed's trial that said she saw a blob on the lawn,
From
which
the
would
back
be.
of Jennifer McCabe's car.
Now, here's something I didn't know, and I don't feel like Turtleboy was outing her because he had those text messages. So she's obviously out on her own, and she's a big old hockey player and a big old lesbian, and I can see that because I have gaydar. And I saw it when she was on the stand. I was like, there's something here. And then my gaydar was going off. But Turtleboy was talking about how she was actually hitting on Lindsey Guatani
Yeah.
in text and was like, I want to make out with you. And I'm saying it in that voice because that's the kind of lesbian I think she is, where she's like, I want to
Why is
make
it
out
okay
with you.
for you to say that, Mel? Why?
Because I'm gay. And anyway, Turtleboy was talking about her and he's like, let me just say, I was a track coach and I'd have her throwing shot put. And I was
champion.
like,
Be state champion.
listen, as a lesbian who was on the track team and threw shot put and ran the Fat Man relay, I understand what you're saying, Turtleboy. And though I think you're a douchebag sometimes, and I think you're slightly homophobic, that bit was kind of funny. So
Yeah. More than a slight bit sometimes with trans coverage. But my favorite thing is when he talks about Jimmy, Auntie Deb, who, by the way, I know people say is problematic. I've had nothing but lovely interactions with Jimmy.
with Jimmy.
And I'd love to have him on the show and be like, tell us about all your problematic shit, which I hope to do. But yeah, he's like, he doesn't even seem gay. I'm like, why? Why do you have to say that? What the fuck is the matter with you? Who cares if he seems gay or not? For God's sakes. Anyway,
Right.
TV.
We're gonna get dragged, of course,
I
because
know he's like my little brother that I want to throttle.
I know he's such a jerk. God damn it.
But
there was
what?
one other. I'm sorry.
It brings out interesting stuff and actually has gotten to the truth of many matters. So
he is an actual journalist, which I appreciate. One of the other things.
He's a brand of journalist.
Yeah, there are a couple of other things that came up in this stream, which I found interesting. And I only want to bring up one of the emails that he discussed, because it was just like, well, there it is. There it is in like black and white. It was an early email that Karen had sent to Natalie. And to give you the backstory with Natalie, she was a college acquaintance of Karen Read. So that's how they've known each other. And Natalie knew Turtleboy, and that she was talking to Karen because Karen really wanted to get the information to Turtleboy.
Correct.
Because nobody was speaking out on Karen's behalf. No one was putting the information out. She wasn't able to tell her story. It's obviously she's not allowed to go out there and tell her whole story before the trial happens. So she needed, she needed other people to make comments, tell the story. I mean, I've been sort of dealing that with Pam Smart.
She was
for
leaking.
The past
she was
decade.
leaking information to the press, and they were not biting. That's what was happening.
Right.
Her team was. Yeah.
In order to, you have to like sort of combat the narrative. Sometimes you have to put the facts out there however you can, but you can't do it yourself. So I get it. So that's what she was doing. So in one of the emails that she sent to Natalie, she says, Colin and a friend beat up John O'Keefe, and Brian Albert just did the cover up. And I was like, I know that we all have heard this before, but to hear those words coming from Karen, and in a way that sounded so like she absolutely, those were the facts and that's what she believed. Like, I want to know where this came from. I want to understand where that information came from, that she was so firm in her opinion that Colin and a friend, who's the friend? And Colin and a friend,
Lindsey Nagel, obviously. Julie Nagel.
Oh my God, with a shot put. Oh my God, we can't laugh about
right
this.
to the head.
So awful. It's so fucked up. Anyway, so
if you can't laugh at when people say fucked up things, then you're not acknowledging the reality of how brains work. So anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, I found that to be really interesting because we've heard the story before, but then I got to see it in black and white, and I was like, oh my God, she really believed this, and it had to have come from somewhere. Yeah. So that, yeah. The only other thing, I'm sorry, did you have any?
Just that people should understand that Natalie was at one time the intermediary getting information from Karen Read to Turtleboy. She had since fallen out, I guess, with Karen Read, and she has actually made all these emails public. And I think that putting out screenshots of people's emails or their texts, unless you are accusing somebody of something like sexual assault or a crime, and you feel like you need to prove it in some public way, I don't believe in the ethics of that. The bottom line is, though, they're out, and so we can talk about them. And they are interesting it's what she wanted them to know. And she probably believed that at that time. I don't know what she believes today. She won't say. So I don't know it's like some combination of circumstances inside the house resulted in his death.
Well, they can't really know. I mean, that's the problem.
Unless unknowable. Unknowable unless somebody says, I was in the room and I saw this. So,
or they have some sort of forensic scientific evidence. It's unknowable. So they can't say who
That's
did
all
it.
I have to say about it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. The other thing that I wanted to talk about from this stream was there was this crazy part in the middle of it where Turtleboy found out that there was a Spaces conversation going on.
Yes, a forensic coven Spaces.
No, this was it? No, this was Earl Grey.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Earl Grey, and it was called Karen Read Phone Search Warrant Part 3. And basically, for those of you who don't know, Twitter put out this new like sideshow that's called Spaces, and you can basically it's like what we're doing right now, but you can't see anybody. It's just people, their like their name on the screen.
It's a forum of talking.
Forum.
Yeah.
And anybody can listen if it's public, and anyone can ask to join the conversation.
This was honestly, this was broadcast gold, because it was like, it was so meta. It reminded me of like many years ago. Yeah, I told you I listened to Howard Stern growing up. I grew up on Long Island. A lot of what I know about broadcasting, conventions, bringing staving stuff for the radio, like he invented all of that stuff. Whether or not you care about the stripper stuff or not, like he invented all of that stuff and the other stuff that he did back in the day. But anyway, and this reminded me of that. It was so in the moment, meta and real. So do you want to say what happened?
Yeah. So in the moment, in the middle of his stream, and this happened really early on in the stream, he was actually going through the emails, and then all of a sudden he was like, oh, these people are talking about this, talking about me, talking about the case. Let's see if we can get in. And he immediately on live with it up on the screen, which I found great, was like, I'm going to try to get into this. And so he started asking for permission to get into the spaces.
And out loud, he was saying, let me in, let me in.
Let me in. And he was like, he was just repeatedly hitting emojis, like a heart, a crying, a clapping, and he was like, let me in. Every time he hit it, he was like, I'm just hit emojis. I'm going to hit emojis. I'm going to hit emojis. And then one of the hosts was like, Earl Grey was like, oh, I need to interrupt you. This guy was speaking. His name was Zona. I don't know who he is, but he was acting like he sounded like he knew a lot about some sort of legal process. I don't know if he did or not. I don't know who he is, but she was like, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but it seems like the blogger is here or whatever, because they all call him the blogger. And they're like, so Aidan Kearney would like to speak. And this is a direct quote. She said, Zona, a real man should give TB a piece of your mind. And then immediately Zona was like, no. And then he just kept talking about what he had been talking about before she interrupted him, which was some case I'd never heard of. And then it was just silent from her.
Until the bobble lady broke in.
Oh, and then she was like, I have something to say to Turtleboy. And she was like, I don't know if you've ever read this book. It's called The Bobble.
The Bobble.
The Bobble. And then she goes on to tell this story about Saul. And I'm not making fun of anyone's religion. Don't come at me here. It was the way she was speaking. And she went on this sermon. But she was like, and then Jesus came down, and she goes, oh, wait, no, it wasn't Jesus. Who was it? And it was just like, she didn't even have the story right. And she was like, and they were persecuted, and they killed Jesus, and they blah, 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 and all this stuff. And Aidan is just, the funny thing is that no one can hear in the spaces what Aidan is saying, but he is saying it on his live in response to what they're saying, so we can hear it. And then someone's like, oh, he's creating content out of our spaces. And then they eventually reject him.
I am.
Yeah. Then they reject him, and he immediately tries to go back. He just goes back and starts hitting them with emojis and trying to get back in. And I was just like, this is insane. And I was like, please let him in. Please let him in. I'm sure everybody that was watching, there were like 25,000 people watching, who were just like, please let him in. Yeah. This would be amazing.
Lecture him about the bobble in person. To have the brain, have the guts to just tell him that 1-to-1, but whatever. The bobble.
Ooh, so that happened. Did you?
I've never read the bobble.
I'm
just going to throw it out there. I'm not. I've never read the bobble.
I have read the bobble, and not on purpose, but I did, because when my first car that I ever had was a 76 baby blue Chevy Nova. I think I've talked to you about it. It had bench seats and an 8-track player. And this was in 1993-ish. So I was really cool. But this car was just, I paid $500 for it. It was a gorgeous car. I loved it so much. But I was driving home from Dallas one night, and the bottom fell off of it, and the engine fell out of the car and caught on fire in the middle of the street. And I called my parents. It was like 2:00 in the morning. They would not come and get me. So I sat at a gas station in Dallas after my car, which was on fire, got towed away. And the only book I had in my car was a Bible.
A bauble.
That a bauble that someone had thrown through my cracked window with a note that said basically something along the lines of, you need to read this book because ain't no gays allowed in Texas.
Yeah.
And so all I had was a Bible. And so I sat there.
You had a
and
hate Bible.
I had a hate Bible. And I was like, well, I guess I'll read it.
You had
Maybe
a hate crime
maybe I can
Bible
change.
in your car.
I did. I had a hate crime Bible in my car, along with a napkin on the front of my car under my windshield wiper at one point when I came out of the restaurant that I worked at that said, some people deserve to be hated, because I had a hate is not a family values sticker on my car. So anyway, Texas. Yeah, great. So I've read the Bible.
Bauble assault.
So they Bauble assault. They came after Aidan with the Bauble, and it was very funny. I will say this. I want to address this because I know the audience is going to come at me because I'm a big old gay, and Aidan at one point while they were speaking on the spaces was just going gay, 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 gay.
I texted you about it. I'm like,
and though I cringed because I'm like, oh, you friggin' idiot. I said this to him the other day on Twitter.
Taint it? Why do you got to taint it with
I was like, he goes, he said something about gay. And I was like, what is this, fucking 1990? Like, what are you going to be like? You queer? Like, that's what my Aunt Cindy used to say. Anytime that somebody said something stupid, my Aunt Cindy would go, you queer? And I was just like, what are we doing here? So, I mean, there are a lot of words that I dislike and I don't like to promote, and I hate, like, you know, the R word, which I hear the kids these days saying a lot. They love it. And I know that, like, I always say, I'm like, oh, I said it to you the other day. I'm like, Rebecca, that's so gay. You know what I mean? And I say it like whenever Lindsey and I like have a breakthrough communication moment, I'm like, oh, we're so gay.
What did you tell me I did that was so gay? You're like, that is so, it was something that I did. You're like, that is so gay. And I was like,
I don't remember.
I don't think you should be saying that, Mel. Anyway, I grew up in the 80s. I graduated high school in 1991, and I'm not going to say I didn't call things gay when I was growing up, because that was a word. That was a word. That was like the R word. My mom worked at a place called the Association for the Help of Retarded Children. That's what it was called. God. It was a long-time nonprofit on Long Island, New York.
Jesus Christ.
And she was a big wig at this. She worked there for like 25 years or something. And the word was in the vernacular, and it actually referred to people. And then it got, turned into an insult. And then, of course, it became more. But that organization was still called that long after it was turned into a thing high schoolers said about each other. So anyway,
Pure Ducky. Let's go ahead, and we knew we were going to have to do this. I hate the way he talks about women. I think he's an immature dickhead most of the time. I believe in his First Amendment right. I think he is an entertainer. I do believe that he is funny sometimes. And I do think that sometimes he has a really good heart. I think he is immature. I think he doesn't know how to express himself. I think sometimes when he gets angry or pushed or is feeling like he wants revenge, he says whatever the fuck is on his mind. He does whatever the fuck is in his brain.
It goes loose.
I do not condone that. I hate it. But I also am not going to completely cut him out of my life and put him in this barrel of like horrible human beings, because I know that, because I know he's got a lot to learn. And here's the thing I like about Aidan, and I can say this because we've, had conversations with him. He tries to change. He wants to change. He makes an effort. He will talk to you about that change. He is not a perfect human being.
He'll look at his old streams and say, I was bad, I was wrong, I was whatever. Like he did that on this last live. He's a learner. He's trying to be. And even if you think it's disingenuous, that's fine. I can tell you from my conversations with him that have sometimes veered into like our very different takes on things.
Yes.
Like in a bad place, like, or whatever, or things were happening, or I was in a bad place. And like, we would there's a lot of humanity there. Mm-hmm. It's not honestly not dissimilar to me loving fucking Howard Stern, who for decades with deplorable thing. I hate using the word deplorable, but deplorable, that word fucking radicalized people. So, but he did like unforgivable things on his show. And, but I loved his show. And that's kind of like what the idea that we never listen to anybody who's right about some things or good at some things because there are things that they do that are objectionable to you, then you're not willing to engage with the planet as a whole. Because if everybody thought just like you, this would be fucking pluribus.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh, speaking, this has nothing to do with pluribus, but you know what happens tonight?
What?
The Pit.
Oh, I know. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Tonight.
I hear that a lot of journalists have spoiled it, so I'm not reading any coverage of it.
Oh, don't read any coverage. I'm not going to do that either.
He's a good dude and honest. I actually find him to be honest too. I find our interactions to be extremely good faith. And I know that because when I talk to him, he says things that don't make him always look good. And he still says them. And, it's like, because a lot of people refuse to take responsibility for any stupid shit they did, or they refuse to even admit they did it.
Yeah.
And he lied about some stuff he's done. Yeah. But he's lied about some stuff he's done. And then he's said that he lied.
Yeah. And also what I will say is that to me, Aidan feels like he's working out what's happening in his brain and in the world in real time, the same way he does on his lives. He is, Jess said he's so reactive in the moment. You're absolutely right.
No impulse control.
No impulse control. But what I will say is that, again, I do think he is open to change. And I do think that he is the kind of person that will sit down and have an hour-long conversation with you about your views. And then at the end of that, if you've changed his mind is changed. Because here is the prime example. He was a back the blue MAGA, and he still is some of these things, human being before he got into the Karen Read trial.
No, he was that guy. He had police stuff before, way before. He's been pushing on the police for a long time, since like the teens.
He did, but here's the thing. He also believes in the system that they created. He did believe in the system that they created. And the idea that he would be willing to go through everything that he's gone through to blow up corruption and to go after these people and to try to tell the truth, to me, means that he's willing to change if he has the facts.
He's thoughtful insofar as, like, when Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air, he tweeted about the government should not do that. The government should not be telling people what they can and can't say. That is accurate. His understanding of that constitutional right is accurate. And, people politically on political polar opposites, they want to police the other side's speech all the time. And to use the government as a tool for that is the cause that he is fighting against, right? So the other thing that really opened my eyes and made me want to talk to him was when I tweeted about Dr. Wolf. And I said, if you're a woman who's ever been to a certain kind of doctor, you know this guy. And he was like, he talked about it on his stream. And he was like, I never thought I'm not a woman. I didn't think about that. So maybe some women can tell me like what that means or whatever. And it's like, knowing what you don't know is a sign of somebody who's willing to learn. And he doesn't have to get to a place where we agree on everything. I don't care. I honestly don't care. And if I ever have a huge falling out with him, I also will feel the same way about his rights to defend his right to speech. So, but I like him. I like him personally. Sorry.
I hate him sometimes and I like him sometimes.
Same.
And I don't take shit, and if he says something that I think is stupid, I let him know. And, we can have a conversation about it. That's the difference here. The difference is that when you're online, like say you're on Twitter, which I have to say, I went back on Twitter.
Yeah,
I felt like I was missing out.
No, you can be a useless cunt too.
I am a useless cunt most of the time.
Sorry about the language, everyone. That wasn't my quote. It was someone else's quote about me.
Someone else saying that too, Rebecca. What I can say is, when you go on Twitter and somebody says something that you think is stupid or you disagree with, and you say, and you give a good argument about why you think that, and then they dig their heels in even more into their opinion. This is what I've talked about this before on this show about the Abby Phillip show, which the tagline is, most people in America aren't talking to each other, but here we do. They do not. All they do is yell at each other with their talking points from their parties. And that's what people do on Twitter. But if Aidan says something stupid or that I disagree with, and I say, hey, Aidan, here's this is why I disagree with you. He and I will have a genuine conversation about it. And if I've been able to convince him, his mind will change. In our current political climate and society, that's almost unheard of.
Yep.
So anybody who is willing to listen to the other side and make changes within
or
themselves,
don't make changes, but for real reasons, not just because I hate you.
Yeah. You know, one of my, not to go back to the Minneapolis thing, but there was a guy who was a bystander who saw what happened in Minneapolis, and he went on. He was one of the first people I heard talk about this, and the thing that he said that really stuck with me, he explained exactly what he saw happened, and then he said to the news station, I think he recorded it as well. And he said, you know, just to let you know, I lean right.
I'm conservative. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah,
I'm conservative, and this is not okay. What I just saw happen. This is not okay for me. This is not okay for my community. And this is not okay for the United States of America. He is the person I want to talk to in these debates.
Yep.
He is the person who can use his own eyes and say, "Ooh, I don't feel good about this. I don't feel comfortable with this." And not just stick to the talking points because you want power and you want someone specific to win. I'm so sick of us doing that. Yeah. So anyway.
There's so many debates in the world that are like that. Like abortion is like that. A lot of people truly believe that it's wrong. They truly do. And I can engage with those people because I'm like, you have whatever logical or faithful reasons behind feeling that way. And other people are just against it because that's what their side told them to be.
Yeah.
And so, or because of control or because of whatever. So it's like there's a good faithness to it that I appreciate. And I think he operates in good faith a lot of the time. So.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's move on. I know that's going to piss a lot of people off. The only other small bit of news that I wanted to talk about, and this is where I'm going to actually bring in, I'm going to share my screen here in a minute.
Oh, hell yeah. Use the tech.
So there's this, I've never listened to this person's stream or watched their channel, but her name is Roberta Glass. And
like George Glass? Do you know the George Glass reference? Okay, George Glass gets thrown around on Twitter a lot right now. I'm not going to get into why.
George Glass.
Yes, George Glass was from Brady Bunch. George Glass was Jan's imaginary boyfriend, where she was like put on the spot to say her boyfriend's name, and she said George, and then she looked over and there was a glass there, and she said George Glass. And so when someone says George Glass, what they're saying is you're talking about an imaginary boyfriend. That's what they're saying.
Got it. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to share this screen. So I was tipped off to this feed by a person on Twitter named, I think Lara is her name, Lara. Let me just make sure I get it right. Where did it go? Mentions. Tony. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at Blue Sky, not Twitter. That would not help. Okay, so Rebecca tweeted at me a bit. Lara. Okay. So Lara told me about this feed from Roberta. And basically what she does is she spends like an hour and 20 minutes. It's just her talking for an hour and 20 minutes about the spaces that happened a few days ago where I just want to remind the audience what we're talking about here. It was a McAlbert conversation, and what's his name? He was one of the McCabe's. Oh, Corey.
No,
Sean McCabe.
It's Matt McCabe's brother, Sean.
Matt McCabe's brother, Sean, came into the room and made a death threat against Turtleboy on the spaces, and a bunch of people laughed, and everyone was saying that Chris Albert was laughing. So Roberta, who has, from what I can gather from this account, she's been pretty much anti Karen Read most of this time and very much in support of the House defendants. So she did this stream. And for the audience who doesn't know exactly what we're talking about, I wanted to go into basically about 5.5 minutes into the stream and play what actually happened on the spaces so that everybody understands what we're talking about. So I'm going to do that now.
By the way, Troy, a lot of people do that on the anti-Karen Read side, not just Roberta.
Let me put it on the screen.
So this was a space that was deleted.
Yeah. So I can hear it.
Hey kids, I'm back for just a minute. Me, Harry.
John McCabe.
Just want to let you know, I just got in, checked in real quick, and I noticed that Aidan Kearney, that little fuck, is listening tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Just want to let him know. Just want to let him know that friggin' prison, dude, is the fucking safest space for you.
Yes.
I can't get you in prison. I'm not going to take a fucking charge just to get you in prison. But out in the street, dude, you are the most fucking marked man in the fucking world.
Yep.
Gonna get you, dude. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna put an end to you. Anyway, happy New Year, everybody, except for him.
I'll pay your bail if you'll put his ass in prison.
Oh, no. There will be no bail for me. There will be no bail. Trust me.
Damn. I just want you to beat his ass.
We got your canteen money, buddy.
I mean, honestly, he could almost be stepped on. You can almost step on him.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm gonna do. There's gonna be duct tape.
That's probably not what you're going to do.
There's gonna be duct tape, a fucking metal chip, batteries.
Stop.
So there goes the monetization
This is Roberta.
of this video
Roberta.
with all those F-bombs. But instead of
Let me speed this up because she talks kind of.
they're all supporting it. They're all supporting that sentiment. That someone who pushes out an innocent fraud campaign for a killer and harasses witnesses, accused of harassing witnesses, I consider it harassment, what Aidan Kearney did. I'm not convinced he's going to be convicted of it.
That's a good faith opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But that allows you to, that's grounds for slaughter and torture.
Heavy duty deep cell batteries.
Stop telling
There'll be
me
lots of shit.
So one person finally says stop. So when you get into you can kill Aidan Kearney, but when you get into actually going and torturing him, that's too much. Someone says stop.
Stop. We're not going
Anyway, I can go put the groceries away. Good night.
Good night. So
So anyway, that's just sort of let me stop sharing this. That's just sort of a quick example of somebody who has been against Karen Read for a very long time, who is sitting down with her audience. She's talking, it's just her by herself for an hour and 20 minutes, but for the entire hour and 20 minutes, she just is like, what is wrong with you people? And she's specifically talking about the McCabe's, and she's saying, you're giving a gift to Karen Read and Aidan Kearney.
Yep.
If you keep doing this, right? So I found it really interesting. I didn't listen to the entire stream because, first of all, she talks really slow, as you heard. And like I said, it was just her. And yeah, so Ofo Show is saying she donated to the McAlbert's campaign. So I think it's amazing.
She says she wonders if.
I wonder if, yeah, thank you for correcting that. But when I was just saying that, when I was like, she donated to, I actually think she did. I remember hearing that, but that's not confirmed. But what I will say is she has been very supportive of the McAlberts and anti-Karen Read. And so I just want to say this again. It takes a lot of courage to go back and correct yourself or start to say things like, I'm not sure if I was right about that.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to say that.
Yeah.
And, there are many people we can talk about right now that are political figures that we won't get into, but I have a lot of respect for people who are able to say, listen, what you're doing is wrong. I've supported you, but what you're doing is wrong. And you need to stop that. And you shouldn't be calling for anyone's death.
Chris Albert is a selectman in Canton, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
He's now denying that he laughed. I've seen the Spaces video. You can tell when someone's making noise because their little thing goes like an. So I'll let you judge for yourself if folks want to find it on Twitter and look at that, and you can judge for yourself whether or not you think Chris Albert is responding with laughter. It appears to me as though he did. His little icon was like, and that was before Julie came in and yelled at him. What are you doing here? What do you say? What the hell are you doing?
You've been spending 2 years trying to take this person
I know
down,
that. I'm sure that he's seen it. I think everybody I've seen that.
No, I wanted to address it. He actually has seen it. He's addressed it. He knows that there was a death threat made. I think he tweeted about it. He might have even talked about it in one of his lives. Roberta believes there is no such thing as a wrongful conviction. She believes if you're charged, you're guilty. She is still whining about Karen and especially Jackson. Yeah, well. So let's see. Replay crew. Julie Nagel with a shot put in Allie McCabe's car. Okay, so that was the last bit I had about like short news. Should we take a break?
No, let's just. I don't think this is going to take as long as you think it is. The very boring podcast. I have like, I could stay on for 15, 20 more minutes, but like, we were going to talk about the forensic room stream from yesterday, aka the Hoswives trademark. Hydro 623. That's the person I saw it. Also known as the Coven. I've seen them referred to that way many times. And I didn't see that before I said it myself. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who had that general impression.
Yeah.
But it's basically 4 prolific anti-Karen Read tweeters.
Yes.
Tuesday Gazette, Julie, Mama Llama got together. They decided to make a counter narrative show where they get together, they have guests, and they just talk. And they had Kevin Lanahan on, and they just talk about why Karen Read is guilty and why the McCabes are saints and the Alberts are saints. That's basically the gist. It's very much a propagandic there's a lack of good faith stuff because they say stuff on there that's just not true. And like just over and over and over again. So they had one last night and Chris Albert was the guest. And my whole thing was like, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much that things went wrong. It was definitely just a love fest for Chris and the Alberts and the McCabes.
Oh yeah, always.
And it was really uncomfortable. First of all, let's just talk about the things that some of the reasons you couldn't watch it.
It's a bad podcast.
It's bad. It's really
Like
bad.
if you were here an hour and 45 minutes ago when my husband Kevin was on, he told you I have more than 10 years of experience reviewing podcasts as a media critic. Okay. I know a fucking bad podcast when I see one and hear one, and that is one. It is so boring. Like the performative attempts to speak in a very gentle and benevolent voice make it slow, unlistenable, and incredibly boring. It's like, if you're going to make something like this, at least try to make it entertaining or good or interesting. It is not, it's like not watchable. It's like watching somebody read the Bible out loud. Like, I don't love it. So that's why I was like you, oh, I should send them a hat. I do have hats. I have merch that say your podcast sucks.
Ooh,
I have a bunch of them upstairs. I can.
Yeah. So Serenity was like, no tough questions for sure. They were just like, so tell us about how hard your life has been, Chris. We love you so much.
Tell us, are you going to run again for Canton Selectman? And he was like, no, it just happened. It just happened last time. And
it just happened. And I won. I was the top.
He campaigned and he had backing and he had money and he had help. I didn't realize he was elected in 2023. That's actually super interesting. But yeah, it was a reputational repair fest.
Yeah.
Like I could imagine Julie being like, okay, now you have to go on this show, you idiot.
Yes. Yeah.
And say that you didn't say that because you just gave Aidan Kearney a gift, as George Glass herself said. But like, yeah.
So there, like we said, there are 4 hosts. There's Lydia. I think that she thinks she's the smart one. Julie, I don't know why I thought this, but that's not Julie Albert, is it?
No. It's Julie, the redhead lady who's always tweeting.
Yeah,
she blocked
Julie,
me.
and then Tuesday and Mama Llama. And I have to say, Tuesday is probably not the smartest of the 4. And some of the things she says, I was like, you did what now? Something was definitely off with Tuesday. So Chris Albert, one of the first things he said, I have some quotes in here. One of the first things he said, they asked him, like, they were like, thanks so much for coming on the show. And, we're so excited to talk to you. And he said, yeah, sure. So like you said, like I've remained silent. Chris,
that's a lie.
Chris said,
this is somebody who comes out on the street and screams at people.
He said, I remain silent.
He screams at people on the street in front of his pizza shop.
He goes on these spaces. He goes on Dateline or 2020 or whatever the fuck it was. What is he talking about? the one thing I got from this whole conversation, delusional. They're all delusional. It's crazy. My opinion. And then I will say this is just an overview.
Yes, Julie Carpenter. Yes.
Julie Carpenter. Yeah.
Ubiquitous anti-Karen Read propagandist.
Yes. And I kept thinking she had something on her forehead, but it was just an eyebrow.
Mm.
I kept being like, go like this, but it was just an eyebrow.
It wasn't a tuft like like Judd Welcher had.
So a general note, they spent, so this was like, I don't know, it was an hour and 20 minutes or so, hour and 15 minutes. They spent so much time talking about Colin.
Why?
So much time.
Why?
Because exactly. I was like, why are we talking about Colin so much?
These folks
they would
tell
just
on
keep
themselves so bad.
all the
They're
time.
like, Kevin said, it's like you coming home from work and your spouse being like, I didn't read your diary while you were out.
I know.
Like they
I
always
didn't look
talk
at your
about
phone
the thing
log.
they want you to pay attention to instead, which always draws attention to the thing you should be paying attention to. I think Brian Higgins' Jeep is a great example of that because that came from fucking nowhere, and it's like you want that Jeep in that spot for a reason, and it's like okay, let's look around and see why you might want that, and it's always like. You know, they always talk about the thing that they don't want you to think about. So stop fucking talking about it. That's my PR strategy for you.
Yes, I agree. That was my whole thought. They talked about Colin for a good half an hour of this podcast. And it would be like right at the beginning, how's Colin doing? And then 20 minutes later, I just feel so bad for Colin and what happened to him. And, you know, he was a child and blah, blah, blah. So basically, hold on, let me pull up my notes. So they go on how's Colin some days, and Chris says some days he can't even get out of bed. They all talk about how awful the blogger
he was drinking the night before, probably. That's my opinion.
Right,
but I've seen this kid drink on video
at
a house party where they hurt an animal and trashed the house. So
yes, they all talk about how awful the blogger and the cult are for going after a child, an innocent child like Colin.
And I wish I could be part of a cult. That's not. It seems so great at the beginning.
Yeah. Well. They also go on at length that it's not strange for everyone in Canton to know one another. Basically, what they're trying to dissolve all of these arguments that were made throughout the trial and all the arguments that the Free Karen Read movement makes, which is Michael Proctor knew everybody in that town, and you know Lenk knew everybody, and Good was involved, and it's because they all know each other. And this person tried to give this person a gift, and da. Oh, will you do me a favor while I'm going through this, because I feel like I'm really passing by all these. Oh, you're already doing it. Okay.
I'm doing it. I'm on. I love the comments. By the way, they talk about Canton as if it's a town of 100 people. Canton has a population of about 25,000 people.
Yes,
it's very similar to Concord, New Hampshire. Where some people all know each other, but everybody doesn't know each other. That's absurd. So it tells you how much influence these people have, that so many people know of them and know them, because 25,000 people, I'm not saying everyone in Canton knows them, but certainly enough do that there's a reputation there. So
yeah, I am going to pull this up so that you all can see what we are talking about, because it's so grating. It drives me insane. But let's play it. Hold on.
Yes, cult is a community.
Really know how it works. And I got on, and you know, I was just thanking people. And to be quite honest, I didn't even really remember or really pay attention to the comments.
That's Chris sort of responding to. Yep. So up in this left-hand corner, Lydia, I don't know if you can see her background, but it's a store that says Hank's. She is a huge
loves her some Hank.
Huge Hank.
He lost that case so hard. I don't understand. He helped pick that jury. He had all of his peremptory strikes that he wanted. He, you know, lied about evidence in open court.
He lost it.
He lost it over and over again. He didn't know things that he should have known. Like he lost that case actively. So I don't understand being a fan of his. I could see being a fan of, like, you know, I don't know, somebody who helped, but he didn't help. He hurt.
So they get to this one part. I don't know if I can find it. I didn't put the time code on this, but it's one of the things that I was just like, what is wrong with you? Lydia makes, okay, here's a couple of things. I'm jumping ahead in some of my notes and we'll go back to some other things. Lydia makes the point that because the media circus and the streamers, meaning the TikTok streamers, the YouTube streamers,
Meaning us. They don't know who we
meaning
are.
us, abusing the streams from the court, other courts outside of Massachusetts are turning their cameras off in the courtroom, and quote, it just needs to have an effect in Massachusetts. She's literally promoting the idea of taking cameras out of the courtroom because I was like, what are you talking about? You guys keep talking about First Amendment rights and you keep talking about like transparency. That is the fastest way to not have transparency, is to take cameras out of the courtroom. And then Chris says that the Free Karen Read and Twitter posts dehumanize his family, which we've heard him say this before. He said it on the 2020. And that then Lydia, the same woman, the smart one, tries to make the point that the tactics that we, like the cult, I'm putting us in that bucket.
Don't put me in a cult. I never got a membership card.
You're in the FKR cult. And she says that basically this Twitter, whatever, they're dehumanizing his family, that they are literally ripped from a Soviet propaganda.
Oh my God.
These tactics are literally ripped from the Soviet propaganda because they are quote unquote othering people and putting all of them into a big group like the McAlberts and controlling the language.
These are the most sock puppety people you will ever meet on the internet. They are really effective propagandists. Like if you look at their numbers, if you look at the comments on the, with the repetitive, if you do an AI analysis of tweets or of say, I don't know, comments on the Give, Send, Go page, they're clearly all written by the same, many of them are clearly written by the same people. And they're sock puppet, like other people in this sphere on both sides have sock puppets. They weaponize sock puppets from the beginning of the whole thing. And I know that because sock puppets are discoverable if you know how to do it. And many people who were like adding back at me, I just mute them all, but like they're not real people. They're purchased accounts. Yeah, some of them look like they were started in 2009. That's because those are the sock puppet accounts you can purchase. To say whatever you want. And it's wild, but that's a very interesting take. Wow, she really is the smart one, huh?
So actually I'm going to play a clip because this really stuck out to me. So Lydia actually asked him about being a selectman and what that's like for him and how does he deal with the chaos of these Canton Select Board meetings. So we're going to play that really quick because what he says makes me so mad. Let's see. Okay.
You'd have an interest in what the city was doing.
Right.
So can I ask a terminology question as a foreigner to Massachusetts? Is select board what some cities call city council? Is that the same thing?
Yeah. So what it is, if you're a city, you can have a mayor. Even small towns can have mayors. They would just vote at town meeting. So select board's like city council.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Just translating for my people. So on that note, because our city council meetings are insane, the crazy stuff that happens in our meetings. So this situation aside, are the meetings crazy? And if so, how do you keep a straight face and endure the craziness of a select board meeting?
So yeah, some of them have gotten, a little bit out of control.
The town is lucky to have you, Chris.
I totally agree with the First Amendment. I think free speech is one of the cornerstones of our society.
Oh, really?
Some of them have gotten a little bit, over the top. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but some of them definitely have
talking about Brenda,
aggressive
Brenda.
Yeah, and some of the things that have been said, you wouldn't think that's commonplace in a normal society to say some of the things that have been said. It's one thing to attack, an elected official or to say things about an elected official, but the fact that some of these people that come to speak at the town meetings, they don't live in the town, they have no real ties to the town, and to attack, someone's actual family members and relatives is to me, it's over the top. You know what though? I try to just keep a level mind and I try to let it not get to me. Because at the end of the day, I know who I am. I know who my family is. And so I try not to let it get to me. It definitely affects me. I'm not gonna say it doesn't. You just try to go in a space where you kind of just like drum out the noise and just kind of, zone out and
zone out.
Let them say what they're going to say.
He's a select board member. He just zones out.
The regular night's business and, just try to, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but when you start attacking people,
no, they're not.
especially people's family.
Good God. Anyway, I just had to
wild.
share that because I was like, really, you're a select board member and you're saying you zone out when the people of your community are talking to you because you just don't want to hear their shit.
I love
Ugh,
the blanket assumption that they all can't, none of them can be from Canton. We've literally, when he says, I try not to react, I do whatever,
Well-
we've literally seen multiple videos of him weaponizing the cops when they said that guy Mass Accountability was following him around. He and Colin drove straight to the police station. That body camera footage shows him weaponizing the cops by saying something that wasn't true about that dude, saying that when we saw the guy parked and he's like, he followed us everywhere. So we saw that. We've seen him screaming through his pizza shop window at people. We've seen him on the street screaming at people. We've heard tapes of him calling the police and saying he felt afraid and customers didn't want to come in. And then you're able to compare that with the footage. And it's just not, to say he doesn't react, honestly, to me, it's genuinely funny.
Delusional also. One of the other things they talked about, which I was just like, I really feel like they can only think in black and white, maybe. I'm not sure. But they talked a lot about the red paint stains in the garage.
Mm.
Did you get to that part or no?
I couldn't. I told you, this was a bad podcast.
I
couldn't
know,
watch
but
it.
it was pretty early on. So anyway.
I'm sure, but they've taken it down now, so I don't have the opportunity to go back. So you'll have to tell me what happened.
Wait, they didn't take it down.
That's what I've heard. So
We're
someone
watching
in the
it.
comments. Oh, okay.
No, it's right here. We're watching it.
Okay.
So they go on about the red paint in the garage. Chris says it was there when he was a kid, which was like 40 years ago. But everyone's so stupid for thinking it's blood. I want to know.
Nobody thought it was blood.
Fuck they're talking about. They literally categorized everybody in FKR as trying to convince other people that this was blood. I'm like, what? You really believe that? Like, do you really believe that people think that's blood?
No.
Are you stupid?
I have
But
not seen
anyway,
a single person think that it's blood.
me either. But they go on and on and on about how they think it's blood. And then this was the part that I couldn't wait to tell you about, because Tuesday talks. So Lydia asks a lot of
Her name, it can't be Tuesday Gazette, right? That's just her Twitter name, and they use that on the show. There's no fucking way.
I don't know.
No. I see. I know the characters in the Karen Reed case who testified in the trials encyclopedically. Everyone expects that I will know who all these people are. I don't know who the fuck John Barron is. I see that name evoked all the time. I don't know who any of these fucking
John
people
Barron.
are.
Well, first of all, the only John Barron that I know, I don't know what it has to do with this case, but I know that it's what Donald Trump used to say his name was.
There's a
when he
Twitter
called into
account. And there's a whole mystery. Who is John Barron? I'm like, why does anybody care about this? And then so there's all these characters, they all sort of blend together. You know why they all blend together for me? Because they all say the same things. You can tell a press, like a little release went out to everybody. So today here's going to be our talking point. So it's very hard for me to tell them apart. Anyway.
So Tuesday starts talking and she says the defense's aim. So this is a transition basically from the red paint in the garage. And if you don't know what we're talking about, audience, I'm sure most of you do, but after the second trial, photos were released, or I guess they must have come up in the second trial, but we never got to see them until after the trial. Alan Jackson was invited, and their team, they were invited into 34 Fairview by the new owners. And this is where we saw the video of Alan Jackson outside of the master bedroom being like, go. Hey, oh. And then there was
I think he's the kind of douche who snaps at waiters in restaurants.
Ooh, he better not.
I think he does. I don't think that Alan Jackson would be a easy person to like go on a date with. I bet he snaps at waiters in restaurants.
I don't think he'd be an easy person to even just sit in a room.
And I would love to talk to him. Don't get me wrong. I find him a fascinating character, former prosecutor, prosecuted some high profile cases, outstanding attorney. But him snapping his fingers.
Is that really Turtleboy?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it is. It is.
Hello. Hey, TB.
Hey, we were talking about you.
We talked about you a lot.
We're talking about you using the word
live stream
and how offensive it is, but how it was deeply funny that you were doing it on that thing.
And also, if you are actually here, TB, as a former shot putter and a lesbian and a runner of the Fat Man relay, I do agree with you about Julie Nagel. I have the same feeling. I got the same vibe, and she's a bruiser kid.
I'm just gonna say I didn't say it, folks. Do not fucking at me.
I said it. I'm the gay here, and I can say it if I fucking want to. Okay. So they go on and on. So Tuesday says the defense's aim for the second jury. She said she read this in a TB article. Actually, Tuesday says,
of course she did, because she reads all of them. I guarantee it.
Defense's aim for the second jury was to find, quote, people who are not deep thinking and analyzing, end quote. And then Mama Llama talks specifically about a female juror who thinks that John O'Keefe got hit by the car and then went into the house and then got beat up. And so the defense got exactly what they wanted out of the jury, because see, they're basically making the point the jury was dumb as fuck, and that's what the defense wanted. And that's like
And if they had convicted her, what would they be saying about the jury?
Turtle Boys. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. My point is that they're saying that, I mean, you do matter, Rebecca. I didn't mean to say it that way. My point was
I
that
didn't get
they're
that you were
literally
saying I didn't matter.
Oh, okay, good. My point was that they think the jury was so dumb, and that the defense got they wanted a dumb jury. It's almost like the people who were like, Trump loves them uneducated. It was like they wanted a dumb jury. They got a dumb jury. They got the result they wanted. And
of course they got the result they wanted. She didn't do it.
But do you see the micro aggression too
totally.
of like talking about the one female juror who happens to be, what is she, Brazilian?
Yeah, and then we also have our foreman who's black.
Mm.
It's not a microaggression. It's an aggression.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question, TB. It's like, and Joey gives us $10 and says Turtle Boy.
Thank you, Joey.
And then Turtle Boy says, why do they avoid addressing the question? How could a genius like Hank Brennan pick such a dumb jury?
Oh, he had the jury in the palm of his hands. If you watch DiPietro at all, he basically every single day went in and they were riveted. And he had the jury in the palm of his hands. And I'm like, yeah, they were going out of the palm of their hand.
Yeah.
I always think about the thing I always think about when I hear this hypocritical stuff is what they would be saying if she had been convicted. It's so not good faith. It's so not good faith, because I think that if Karen Read had been convicted, you and I would be saying, we would not be calling the jurors dumb. We would be saying like they weren't allowed to see the things that would have convinced them otherwise.
Well, that's what we were saying about the first jury.
Wasn't
the
put
first
on that
jury
right.
was
Not
like they
dumb.
didn't. No, but they had the foreman too, who was like sort of moving things around and giving bad advice and shit like that. And it's like, well, I thought he was a lawyer.
No, he was a cop.
Oh, was he a cop? Of course he was. Was it Fanning?
It was Schmo Schmanning. It was Trooper.
Schmo Schmall.
It was Tommy
Schmo
Paul.
Schmall. Tommy Paul.
Okay, we'll just explain it one more time for those who are new here. Mel calls Trooper Paul Tommy Paul. We know that's not his name. It doesn't matter. That is his name forever on this stream, on this presentation.
We know it's Joe Paul, but I think of him as Tommy Boy, and therefore he is Tommy Paul.
Forever knowing.
So we get back into the select board part of it, which I already talked about after they think the jury was dumb as fuck. Lydia makes the point about the Soviet propaganda. And then my favorite part of this entire stream is when Tuesday, who is the youngest member for sure, she seems like the youngest. I think she's got to be like Gen X, maybe. I'm not Gen X, Gen Y or Gen Z. I'm not sure. She says,
I'm Gen X. I don't think so, my friend.
I'm Gen X too. No, I know. She says, and I quote, journalism is dead. Yeah.
Who killed it?
I think Turtleboy
anybody
killed
who's
it.
willing to say the words fake news fucking killed journalism.
Oh, they definitely invoked Lawyer and his interview with Megyn Kelly.
Yeah.
And they said he went on Megyn Kelly, and they said that there was a text message that said, pin it on the girl. And that's absolutely false. And that's what she was responding to. Journalism is dead. Yeah.
It's dead. Totally dead.
It's totally dead.
Well, it's certainly a new brand of journalism is on the rise, as we've seen. And I work at a journalism outlet by day, a traditional, what people would call mainstream media outlet by day. And I can tell you that I pay very close attention to not what YouTubers who are just repeating other people's stuff or people who are, doing, as Kevin would call it, the Wikipedia Brown kind of journalism. But folks who are digging, doing things like FOIA requests, making documents public. If we're not paying attention to those people from the world of journalism, we're not doing our jobs, because there's a trust being built there with the community and the public that cannot be ignored. And traditional outlets should understand what is forming that trust and what can we do to also form trust, even if we're doing our different tactics, we're reporting different ways, we do editing different ways. Like, how do we build that kind of trust? Like, that's something my station is thinking about and talking about all the time. And it should be because of folks like Turtleboy, because of folks like Corey Hopkins, folks who are doing the actual work and being transparent about how they did it. And it leads to trust. So
yeah. And I just want to say RIP PBS. Womp womp.
Oh, wait, PBS is there still there? You're talking about the CPB.
The CPB, sorry.
I have very mixed feelings about the CPB, so I'm not going to take a stand on that one.
Okay, we don't have to get into it. There was one other. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. So the othering, we already talked about the othering people in journalism is dead. They go on a diatribe about how irresponsible. This is funny. This is how delusional they are, and not self-aware. They go on a diatribe about how irresponsible law tubers are and how everyone's just on YouTube for clicks and journalism is dead, while hosting a YouTube stream.
The most boring YouTube stream that's unwatchable.
Asking for money.
Yeah, they are. I'm telling you, ladies. I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna look right at the camera, ladies, because I think you might actually watch this, ladies. Ladies, watch some successful channels, even if you don't like what they are saying. And take this note. If you make something boring, people will not watch it. And if you make something that's at least entertaining, even if it's wildly different than what people want to hear, they will watch it. So your podcast is boring. Your podcast sucks. And that's why I couldn't watch it. And God love Mel for doing the Lord's work.
I was doing the Lord's work. I was reading the Bible and watching the Chris Albert. Breenan's deviated septum, which is really funny to me, said that he or she, not sure, or they wish you'd talk to Sue O'Connell. I wish I could talk to Sue O'Connell.
Me too.
I love Sue O'Connell, and I wish she would come on our show. So if you want Sue O'Connell to be
Sue
on the
O'Connell
show,
does way too much work. She does way too much work on Twitter, dude. Like, stop. Because she sort of digs herself into these rhetorical holes by being snobby about journalism to people who have learned to mistrust journalists because they're snobby. Like there's sort of a self-awareness thing. I mean, she's doing new media journalism much of the time because she's doing live tweeting. She's doing she's the one who threw her head on the desk during that show when that dude said that really stupid thing about what happened in court. Like, she's doing that work, and she should understand that the folks who trust her because she's candid. Yeah. So when she says things like, when she calls everything irresponsible as a blanket thing, like, you're digging yourself in to a hole that is making people trust you less, and they should trust you more, because some of her reporting has been fantastic. So anyway, their YouTube presentations. YouTube presentation, I think that came from that was like a Mello or a Cosgrove thing, right? Which is why this is why Turtleboy calls them YouTube presentations.
Well,
I invited Kevin to our YouTube presentation this morning. He was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, I think that it's like the lingo thing for YouTube, but. So here's my list. I'd love to have Karen Read on. I'd love to have David Yannetti on. I'd love to have Alan Jackson on. I would love to have Sue O'Connell on. I would love to have all of these people on. So if you want them, and Karen, obviously, if you guys want them on our show, you got to go tell them to come on our show. That's the only way that.
Did you think about what would happen to me if you had David Yannetti on this channel? It would be incredible. You just cannot tell him. You can't tell him on the show that I called him a straight bear.
I will tell him that you called him a straight bear, and I would love to see what would happen if David Yannetti was on the show and if you would get quiet. Like, what happens when you're in the presence of someone that you think is hot,
not possible? Getting quiet is not in my DNA, my friend.
What do you do when you're like, oh, I like?
Oh, I'm fine with it. There's a reporter here in New Hampshire, Sean McDonald, and he's a super cutie. And Kevin knows him because they used to work at the TV station together. And then I talk about him on our podcast all the time. What a cutie I think he is. And since I married somebody when they were a reporter at Channel 9, I always think like, thanks there. I always think like part of me makes a joke and secretly thinks that I could marry anybody I see on TV. Right. Thank you. That's inappropriate. Take that down. So I always think I can marry anybody I see on TV. So that's the joke. Like, I see him on TV, I can marry him, just like I did with Kevin. So we went to an event that he was emceeing. And I said, hey, Sean, I said, we know each other from social media. He works at a news outlet. I work at a news outlet. It's a very small state. I was like, just so you know, I talk about you on the podcast all the time. And he's like, yes, I know. He said, I've heard and I've seen. And I'm like, oh my God. I don't care. It's like, I'm proud of
I
it.
love it.
I go on the
I love
record as
it.
saying he's a freaking cutie. I know. It doesn't mean I'm going to like have sex with him. It just means that I am stating for the record that he is
Yeah,
my
he's a
type. He's not a straight bear.
It's how I feel about Judge Frenair, and it's how I feel about Kate Winslet. So two more
you
points.
love Judge Frenair.
I do love Judge Frenair. 2 more points from this thing. So they talked about the gift to Michael Proctor, and he said, give it to my wife. Julie says, she's just a regular mom, and this is what regular moms do. Julie
Get
is
gifts
the kind
from
of
the wives of
person.
cops.
Julie is the kind of person who goes to her nephew's house during a blizzard with donuts. She's just a regular mom, and this is what regular moms do.
At 6 a.m. in a blizzard.
Yeah. So, and then the last point I want to make, which I thought,
notice how much,
thing.
to my point before, when they talk about stuff, that
Yeah.
you should be looking in the opposite direction because they're telling themselves.
Yeah.
The lengths they have gone to not put Julie and Chris in that house. I will just leave it there.
Oh, yes. And then Chris Albert says they are very close to the O'Keefes and that he talks to Mr. O'Keefe for like 30 minutes every week.
Bet he does. I bet he does.
I bet he does too. That's all I have. That was the end of that. It was a
Thank
lot
you.
of like,
once again,
jerking Chris Albert off. Basically.
Lord's work. I appreciate you so much for sitting through that so that I didn't have to. I saw a little bit of it, as I said, and it was unwatchable. And so I don't have that kind of temperament where I can watch something that's horrible. So thank you.
It was bad. And I can't stand looking at Chris Albert or hearing his voice. So, and then I actually was really interested in Lydia and Tuesday. They were both on opposite sides of the screen, and Lydia would say something that, sounded kind of smart. And then Tuesday would say something like, journalism is dead. Yeah. It's dead. I actually want a t-shirt that says that journalism is dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I have. Do you have anything else? Oh shit. We're over 2 hours.
We are. And I got to be in Concord in 45 minutes. So I got to get my stuff together. Thank you so much for being such a marathon trooper on this show today, Mel. And thank you so much to the hundreds of people who've been watching. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your donations. Mel's Venmo and Cash App are scrolling across the bottom of the team. Cash App, $SomethingsOffTips. By the way, very good Cash App address. Nice job. And that really supports the show and sustains what we do. And we super appreciate all of you, even the one who said the super inappropriate thing about me.
Did you see that their name was Rage Knitter?
I love that.
And then she said, David Yannetti seems like he has a very kind heart. Which
also, it's 100% a joke I would make.
That's what gets Rebecca going. You
guys. Yeah, I love it. I love a straight bear. You met Kevin earlier on the show. Scroll backwards if you want to hear.
Oh, that's right. It
He's
seemed like yesterday.
That is 100% my type.
Forever, Kevin.
Kevin is very Yannetti coded, except he never goes to the gym and never will. He's a baseball umpire, though. So
he's a baseball umpire, but he's real cute in his little uniform.
Sure is.
All right. I would expect Speedo pictures and. Nope. Okay. All right. Well, I can't sexualize Kevin. It's just going to be.
Aren't we talking Monday? We're talking Monday. So.
Oh, yeah. We're talking Monday. That's right. Yeah. So. Someone's pure duckery said, I find Rebecca attractive.
I find me attractive too. I'm very vain. Thank
Rebecca's
you.
Very
I'm 52, by the way. Those kinds of compliments.
50.
Those kinds of compliments mean a fuck ton to someone who's 52 years old. So thank you.
Okay.
I'm not going to be like, no, I'm going to be like, I'm trying. I don't actually think, but I am trying. I'm doing my best.
You look amazing. Stop it. All right. I appreciate you all. And again, thanks to Nathan for that email that I woke up to this morning. And thanks for everybody for being here and all the tips, and for Kevin and Rebecca. And you're all lovely and beautiful. And I love this community. And keep coming back and keep spreading the word. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.
Share it with your friends.
Yes. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca.